how much have you spent in mentorship in the last couple of years, just so that people can see like how committed you have been, and the results that you're getting are not by chance. They're happening because of the investments and the commitments that you've made. Would you mind sharing that, Alex? Hi, everybody. This is Joseluiz Morales. Welcome back to the Morales Group Show. This is episode number 63. Today, we've got a very special guest, Master Connector, Alex Camacho. He's a real estate investor in Southern California, also a real estate investor out in Hawaii. This guy has a super inspiring story, somebody that basically has gone connected with all the right people last 4 years, done tons of flips. He's going to be showing us, mentoring us on how to get started if you're a new real estate investor, everything from sourcing the first flip to basically some of the industry secrets. Welcome to the show, Alex. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Jose Luis. I love what you're working on. I've been following you for a while, so I'm honored to be on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, same thing here, man. I actually received a friend request from you maybe like a year and a half ago. Saw that we had a lot of mutual friends, clicked on a couple of videos, like, all right, this guy looks like a hustler. Let's accept them. But we actually didn't know each other. We got connected through social media. Obviously, I've been keeping up with you. Love the energy. Love what you're doing. So wanted to have you on the show. Think that you'll provide tons of value.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise, I just saw that you had a show and that you're like local. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and that's really where my home base is at when I'm in Los Angeles. So you're, I think, in Ventura County. And I also lived in, I don't think we've talked about this, but I lived in Oxnard for some time when I was in the mortgage business back before the crash. So I got familiar with the Ventura County area a bit, in that state.
I actually didn't know about this. I love Ventura County. So before we get started, I want to encourage the viewers, if you've enjoyed some of our last interviews, don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share it. We're going to provide tons of value in today's episode. So let's get started by just, who is Alex Camacho? How did you get started in real estate? And like, what drew you into the investment side versus maybe more of the traditional side, like the real estate side, the real estate sales side?
Yes, for sure. So I started working right out of high school in banking. So I got that kind of financial base. I was working for this bank called Washington Mutual. You're probably familiar with that bank, but worked out there for about 5 years and I loved it. Thought I was going to be a banker for, just the foreseeable future. I saw myself being, it's a good job. And, but then I got the opportunity to work in the mortgage business back around 2003, 2004. I'm in my late 30s. So sometimes people think I'm younger than that, but I'm not. And so I started working in banking. Then I went over to the mortgage business and subprime lending. For some of the people that don't know what that is when, those people were getting loans that had below than average credit score. So I worked there in that company for about a year. That was when I first broke like six figures. And it blew my mind. I was like in my mid 20s. And so, I worked in the mortgage business for a couple of years there. I did have my own company. I started a company with my identical twin brother, and we did really, really well for those almost 3 years or so. But then the market crashed. And I didn't really have much money management skills. I didn't really have any mentors. I didn't have a lot of good habits. And so I slowly lost it all over a course of maybe about 2 years. I had saved a couple $100,000. I had 3 properties. But again, I just had no real assets. I had bought a lot of property with high leverage and just didn't make wise decisions and was doing, a lot of partying, a lot of things you do when you're making money in your mid 20s. That didn't happen. I lost it all pretty much. I was literally back on my mom's couch, broke after just this epic climb. And then, but I always believe, man, I'm a hustler. I have a lot of ambition and just thought, hey, I'm just going to have to get back up. Now, I didn't think it was going to take that long, to be honest. But, I went into, right after the crash, I started seeing a lot of people doing short sales. So I started doing a bunch of short sales. That's really where I got the bug for the investing side. I saw that these house flippers were coming in and buying property, making, huge spreads. What I saw was about $100,000. And that number kind of stuck out to me like, hey, man, these guys I'm on the wrong side of this transaction because I was double ending it. I was getting, paid, well, but I saw what they were doing. And But that was around 2013, 14, and I didn't really take any action. I did some Airbnb arbitrage, which was also kind of a form of controlling real estate, and that was fun. But I knew that it was built on shaky ground, because ultimately, if you don't own the property, and then the property owner doesn't allow it, and then there's heavy regulations. So I kind of saw the writing on the wall there, because we had like 10 units, and we're making some good cash flow, but we didn't own the property. So that was the time I just felt like, hey, I have some semi-passive income. This is the time I should get into more, real estate investing. And around that time, I came across the podcast from Bigger Pockets, and a bunch of YouTube videos, and 2016-ish, kind of beginning of 2017, and I basically just want to go work for a real estate investor. I just said, hey, I want to be a full-time real estate investor. I feel like I could be, based on my banking experience, based on my agent experience, based on my Airbnb arbitrage, all that experience led me really believe and give me more confidence that I could, be a great real estate investor. So I went to go work for somebody for about a year, just got a job off of Craigslist. I literally applied to like 2 jobs, and he called me because I do have a great resume. And it was kind of just entry level inside sales type of role. It was barely making any money, but this guy was doing exactly what I wanted to do. I mean, flipping 20, 30 properties a year, making $1 million plus, keeping the small multifamily. I loved his blueprint. And I worked for him for like a year, and then I got recruited by a bigger company, much larger organization. They had a different buying model and a lot more cash. And so they were doing like 200 deals annually. And so it was like, I just went, I went to go work for them in a bit more of a formal role with some type of equity position in the deal. And then I just pretty much worked with them for about a year and a half, got them about 50 something deals. And so in that 2.5 years, I got like over 60 deals, like with those 2 mentors, and just hustled. And I learned a lot, saved some money. And then about 2 years ago now, I pretty much went off on my own, started my own company. I've been doing about a deal or 2 a month ever since. So that's basically where I'm at now. And now I have a team, and now I'm in a couple of states, but it's definitely been like graduation, and a lot of my experience has helped me get to where I'm at now too.
That's awesome, bro. Do you think that you would be where you're at if you hadn't worked those 2 investors at the beginning? Because what I see is a lot of people, like, even getting into the real estate game without even the investment side, they try to figure things out on their own, meaning that they don't get a mentor, they don't go work for somebody with experience, then hence they get lost. At least that's what happened to me. I thought I had things figured out at the very beginning, and it wasn't until I got a mentor that like my career started to change. How important was that? Was that important? And do you think that you would be at the same level you are now if that wasn't maybe the case?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm a huge advocate, and I talk about mentorship quite a lot. I mentor, a lot of people now. And I read that book called Mastery by Robert Greene. I'm a huge fan of him as an author, but that book hit me really hard because there's a very important chapter in that book describing like the apprenticeship model and the mindset, of going to work for somebody is doing what you want to do. So you see the ins and outs, the nuts and bolts, like you're in the ring kind of with them, or you're right on the sideline, right? You're watching them in the ring. And there's something so valuable to that you're never going to get from a book. You're never going to get that from, a podcast. You're just not. And maybe because I was a little bit older and I had failed already, I was open to thinking about it. Right. But I can't imagine not going through that and then knowing what I know now. So I just didn't want to fail. I had failed before in real estate, and I knew, hey, even though I had had success in banking, even though I had success with mortgage, blending, and all the Airbnb, we had success with all that, but this was a different game. Like I was going to be risking real money, but then also there was a lot of upside. Right. Once I know these skills, I can go to a different market. I can, stay in LA where there's, huge margins. So there was just so much upside to it. I was willing to bite the bullet. But no, I don't think I would be at where I'm at today. And I think a lot of people just think it's like they're inferior because they're having to, work for somebody, or they feel less than themselves. But that's just an ego thing, really. Yeah. If you want to be a master, you have to learn from a master.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I would. I think the ego sometimes gets in the way of really being able to learn from people and just humbling ourselves down and saying, "Man, I don't have it figured out. I don't know what I'm doing." I know that you found the guy on Craigslist. Like, would that be the best advice if you wanted to find somebody now? Because I know that eventually you got recruited, or if somebody was looking for a mentor, what do you think the best advice would be from you to them?
Sure. So I think the best advice I would give now, I mean, I probably wouldn't do that. Probably wouldn't be my first thing. I would probably go on Bigger Pockets and check out the forums there. I would probably go on Instagram and see who's kind of doing things and try to, find out who's really active, and just find somebody that resonates, you resonate with their message, and then see if they're, open to, working with you. Well, I do recommend those. You have to do an inventory of what you bring to the table. With my first mentor, like I was applying for a job. I had a lot of skills that were going to help his business. So it was a natural fit for him. And that's why I didn't have to look for a lot of jobs. Mm-hmm. But if you're someone that's younger and maybe doesn't have as many skills as I did when I first started, then you need to figure out what are the skills that are important to real estate investors that you're looking to work for, and then either go get those skills or find a way to plug those holes or to solve those problems. Because so many people ask me like, hey, what do you need help with? And they put the onus on me. I'm just like, hey, I would like to help you, but like now you're making it another job. I know you could probably relate. You're making it like another task for me, another job for me to tell you what to do to help me. I don't even know if you're going to stick around for that long. So I usually just try to start like, hey, what can I do to help you? Because it's probably easier for me to help you than it is for you to help me. And so, yeah, I just say, Bigger Pockets, Instagram, just see what people are doing. Although there is a lot of very successful investors that are not very, they're not on social media. So just look around and see who you'll resonate with, but have an idea of what you can bring to the table, because otherwise it just doesn't, there's no incentive for that master, that somebody that's excellent doing what you want to do to help you and to mentor you.
Yeah. It would pay be the most important thing when selecting a mentor. I'll tell you a quick story, Alex. I had a guy that wanted me to mentor him a while back, and he started putting all these things. Well, look, I want to make 80% of the commission. I want to make 90. And I said, look, unfortunately, like the numbers just don't work out for me. Like it's like there's no money in it, like I'd be like literally mentoring you for free. And obviously, I mean, that's good and all, but at the same time, like there is a price sometimes that you have to pay. Would you say that maybe it's worth the sacrifice to sacrifice some of the pay in order to get mentored by the right person? Like if somebody had the chance of getting mentored by like a Alex Camacho or something like that, would you say that? I see a lot of people only focus on the numbers. Is that the most important thing when looking at a mentor?
No, not at all. I think that's the wrong way to think about it. If you're only focused on like how much you're going to make, you're already coming from a place of wanting to take. You're taking and asking, compared to just giving. So, what I would say to that is that, you have to pay to play sometimes. Now, if you're just starting out, I don't recommend, hey, trying to sign up for a mastermind or that, really expensive course or anything like that. But for example, for me, as I grew in my career, I knew that I was going to continue having to level up, learn new skills, continue to expand, what I am capable of doing. And so that's why I paid for like a mastermind to be around Brandon Turner, because I really respected him. And so now he's become one of my mentors. And it's because I went to that mastermind, but I also do other stuff to make sure that it's easy for him to mentor me. I'm coachable. I'm constantly, available if he, rings me or whatnot. I consistently take him, do things for him that are nice, like such as paying for dinners and paying for massages and things like that. So, seriously, man, just any way you can get in front of people that you respect and you want to mentor under, like our time is valuable, right? Like someone wants half an hour of my time, like that's $200-$300. It's like when you're making a lot of money, $300-$500 an hour, like why would I give you half an hour of my time if I don't even know you're gonna take any action? So yeah, be willing to maybe take someone out to a fancy lunch, be willing to pay someone, go take someone to a fancy dinner. I do that all the time. I drop hundreds of dollars on dinners just because I want to learn that one little nugget from someone that can change my life almost. And people don't think that way, but that really is the case, especially when you're around very high performing people.
Let me ask you this, just so that the viewers see. I know I asked you this off camera, Alex. How much have you spent in mentorship in the last couple of years, just so that people can see like how committed you have been, and the results that you're getting are not by chance. They're happening because of the investments and the commitments that you've made. Would you mind sharing that, Alex?
Oh, not at all. And I say this often to people that make sure that you understand that being an investor is a mindset above a title, because you're investing in yourself, you're investing in relationships, you're investing in deals, you're investing in your business. So that's all an investment, and you're just like, oh, well, no, it's just not one thing. Let me go ahead and be an investor for 2 hours a day and then I'm something else. Like, no, like constantly. This Airbnb I'm at right now is an investment because it's not that expensive, but it's in a great location. And then I'm sharing it with another investor. So like, we're still frugal investors, right? So on average, I spent about $50,000 over the last 2 years for courses, masterminds, flying to see other investors that have met at that mastermind that I would have more time with, and just a variety of networking or things that are going to pay off, hopefully in the long run, which really they have. But yeah, so I spend about $25,000 a year on education and on courses and masterminds.
That's awesome, man. And I can't stress to the viewers how important that is. Like for me, it was, I just paid $25,000 for a mastermind. I paid some money. I went to go shadow Ryan Pineda on his social media strategies, and it was worth every penny because essentially they'll help you get to a different level. Let's talk about like from social media perspective. Like I see that you're really good at connecting with people. Like even the way that you connected with me, it was kind of like you sent me a message or you added me on social media. Then obviously you had a lot of videos, so I can just very quickly browse through them, see the energy, and see if it's somebody that I want to connect with. How important is that in today's environment? Because I know a lot of people, like there's other ways of doing business, but have you ever gone a deal through somebody maybe you met through social media, or how important is that in today's environment?
Oh, extremely important, Jose Luis. I mean, I have bought properties from leads that I got directly from social media. I actually have a number of how much money I've made over the last few years, so I'll share that in a second. But what I'll say first on social media is it matches my personality a little, because I am extroverted and I am a salesman. I do like to present and sell and negotiate. Those are some of my best skills. So social media for someone like myself is, yes, it is a little bit easier, but it's still uncomfortable. It's still a skill that I've had to build. My videos connect with people because I've made hundreds of videos, thousands of stories, posts, all these. And so you get better at something that you're doing often. So people think they just need to do social media once a month. No, like it's work. It's funny because I joke around with a friend of mine over in Maui. I'm like, yeah, man, I gotta go down to the beach and I gotta do a video, and it's like, and it sounds like weird, but like it's still work. I gotta go down there. I gotta take sometimes multiple takes. Sure, I'm on the beach in Maui. I mean, I'm not complaining, but it's still work, you guys. That's the point, that you have to be a producer. You have to like understand it's a skill, and it's not going away. It's only getting bigger and bigger, and you're just missing the boat. And so I just tell people you have to be a producer. I hardly consume any content, and I do. It's only from people that I respect and are doing bigger, better things than me, or people I'm working with. Other than that, like I really don't pay attention very much to all the other stuff. But I've bought 3 properties from Instagram leads over the last 2 years and made close to $200,000 on those 3 deals.
Just on the social media alone.
Just on the social.
Just basically, that's one of the legs, essentially. Where I saw the power in socials, when I shadowed Ryan, he literally had a job post and it literally got like 300 applications in a matter of seconds. So it can help you with the recruiting aspect as well too. What is your strategy behind social media? I know I got a friend request. Is that one of the strategies to send out friend requests to real estate agents or other investors?
Yeah.
And what would be some of the other strategies that you utilize? Like what is the thought? Like I'm imagining that or at least what I notice is that it looks like your goal is to provide value and education. Can you elaborate on why that, like why you're giving away information for free? And
yeah, of course. So number one, that is one of our strategies with Facebook. So at the time when I started I mentor under Ryan Pineda. So he's my full-time coach. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, I signed up with him last year. He wholesaled me a deal, which he made $35,000 and me and my joint venture partner made like 90. So we just had a really good, and that was after I met him at the mastermind with Brandon Turner. So I've known Brian now for a couple of years, but when he started his program, he approached me about it. And I was really kind of just doubling down on the relationship. But yeah, so I worked on the social media, and then I learned from him. I only had maybe about 1,000 or so friends about a year ago on Facebook. And then just following some of Brian's advice, you got to add as many relevant people to your Facebook. I'm like, all right, cool. Because I started using Instagram a lot more, but Facebook is also very valuable. So my virtual assistant just goes on there and finds real estate agents in California and Southern California and real estate agents in Maui, and just adds them. And anybody that's either a wholesaler, a real estate agent, or kind of somewhat related to real estate, I'm adding them. And then since I post consistently, I know they're going to eventually see my feed. And then if they resonate with anything from my feed, then they're going to reach out to me, sort of like what you did. So I don't have an active strategy on Facebook right now to like start DMing people, because I don't like when people do that to me, where like they friend me and like, 2 seconds later, I'm sure you've been there, right? They send you a long message. It's totally like copy and paste. And I'm like, okay, bro, like I'm not buying it, and I'm not, you're not getting my money. Like I hardly know you. You could have, gave me a little bit more foreplay, bro.
You could have kissed me.
But then with Instagram, it's different because the audience is different. So I try to kind of, even though I repurpose a lot of the content for both platforms, I would say Instagram, I post a little bit more often because it's more of my demographics. I'm looking for those younger entrepreneurs in real estate in both of my markets that I could either help in some way or give some value. And that's what I call my customer avatar, where, all my content is just geared towards that one person. I mean, I even go so far as like naming him and who he is. His name is Miguel. He lives like in South LA. He grew up kind of, not in the best situation, right? And then and he's really passionate about getting involved in real estate, or maybe has a deal or so, or knows somebody that has. And then my content is posted for that guy, because that's who I was some time ago. And so it's very my message is clear to who it's going to. Everybody else is just bonus.
That's awesome. So it's basically your audience, basically that would be it. Cool, man. So you hit a very important point. Like, you bought a deal from Ryan. Ryan made $35,000, and you made some money as well too. I bought deals from wholesalers, but I dealt with people that their mind is so small that they think that just because the other person's making money, that they look at how much the other person bought it for, and they're like, well, he's just going to make $35,000 without doing anything. But they don't look at all the work that happened in the background. I also look at how people like treat real estate agents sometimes. Like, instead of treating them as an ally, as somebody that you can grow with, they treat them as somebody that they're helping the real estate agent out because they're making a commission, not knowing that the real estate agent can actually bring you deals. What are your thoughts on that? Like, why do you build relationships with real estate agents? And do you just build them with one real estate agent, or do you build them with multiple real estate agents? Because even then,
the reason I build relationships with real estate agents is because as an investor, I know, and I've done deals with multiple agents, or done multiple deals with multiple agents. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. And so I've noticed that, like, you guys are the ones in the boots in the ground. I used to be an agent. I got deals for investors before. So I always want people to have the agents in my market, in my area, and where I invest, to have me top of mind. I'm sure you've heard that before. I'm sure your viewers have heard that before. And how do you stay top of mind? Well, social media helps with that, right? Like, you meet with them once, and then you guys exchange information, and now they're seeing you, like, you're doing this deal, you're doing that, and like, so you're staying in front of them. So when a deal comes across their desk, they're going to think about you, because what most people don't understand, most of new investors might not understand, is that it's not like you got one agent listing like all the fixers, or even one agent that lists a fixer every single month. Mm-hmm. Not that's an exception. That's not really the rule. What I've noticed, it's more like you get this guy as a random listing, and then he gets maybe a fixer deal like once a year. Yeah. And so the more agents you know, and the more that know you and what kind of properties you buy, the more likely they're going to think about you when they do come across some type of deal 6 months down the road. Now, I don't put too much emphasis on just networking with agents just to network. I like to do deals with agents and then continue to nurture that relationship, because now we've made money together. And I'm sure you agree that once you make money with somebody and it turns out like a win-win deal, then you're just on solid ground now, and you could continue to build off of that a lot more than just like, hey, I want to buy. Oh yeah, you want to buy. Everybody wants to buy, and then just like you're not really giving that much value. But I also, with agents, I understand that they sometimes don't become investors, even though they they're dealing with the product every single day. They're not investors, or they don't understand the numbers on flipping or wholesaling or buying and hold BRRRR. They don't understand the numbers, so I try to educate them if I can, if they're coachable, if they're open-minded. So then that way they know the number, so that they don't think that my number is just crazy. They know how I came up with that number. And then they also know kind of they can help and get that offer considered too. So, there's some coaching there involved as well to help me in that way too. So, but yeah, for me, I try to just pay it forward and share with agents, because I really believe that agents need to have two hats. They need to have the agent hat, and they need to have the investor hat. And investor hat could be because of those type of deals, or also because they are an investor themselves, or both. So like there's two lanes, and the best real estate entrepreneurs I know really know both lanes very well and know when to take each hat on and off.
Yeah, and for me, it's made me successful. Like I went on a listing appointment that people are like, I don't want to list the property, I just want cash. But you could sell it for X amount of dollars. I just want cash. Give me this number and I'll sell it. That property is making me $164,000 right now as a profit. It's a good payday. It's an awesome payday. I wanted to ask you, you've attended a lot of events, right? Obviously you've networked with a lot of people. Are there certain events that you would recommend, and how does somebody know? Because in the education business, there's a lot of people that teach stuff that they've never done, or they're basically selling you a product that they've never done as well too. How would you select the events, and are there any events in particular, anybody that maybe you want to give a recommendation or a shout out to?
Well, I think obviously working with Ryan Pineda, I'm a big fan of his. Obviously anything that Brandon Turner does, I'm a big fan of. So I would say those two guys would probably be my top two recommendations. But aside from that, I think it is based on your market and based on what you're doing. But I did read this book recently called Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. I don't know if you came across that.
I haven't read it, but it's on my read list.
Bro, this thing is
fire. Really? Yeah.
So he describes in there like the mentors you need to kind of put yourself around. They're either theory, witnesses, or testimony. Theory would be like they just know a theory, they understand it, and they're teaching it like some of these gurus and whatnot. There's witness, maybe like an assistant for like a top investor or top agent. And then, they were right. They were able to see the mindset, they were able to see the work, but they weren't the ones doing it. And there's actually like the ones that were doing the testimony where they can, they were the ones doing the work. And so now I feel like I've got all three, right? I've seen the theory, because when I first started, like everybody else, I was just listening to podcasts, reading books, but wasn't taking any action. Then I went to go work for that investor, and I was kind of a witness, a little bit of testimony because I was watching him. And now I've been on my own for a couple years. Now I'm a testimony, like, excuse my language, I do this shit. Like, this is me. I'm a hustler. I'm that dude now. Like I am what I wanted to be 4 or 5 years ago now. So when people come up to me, like they respect me, not because I'm special, Jose Luis, but because they respect my body of work, all the work I put into this business. And that's where I try to wrap my, kind of focus on. Like, it's not that I'm special or people, because you gain a certain level of like celebrity now, or people like treat you a certain way. And it's like, no, bro, I'm not special. It's just you respect all the work that I've put in, and hopefully you're willing to do the same so you can get here too.
Let me ask you this, because I think this is really important, dude. A lot of people want the success, but a lot of people aren't willing to put the success, bro. A lot of people want the glamour. They want to be on stage, but they're not willing to read books. They're not willing to attend events. They're not willing to stay up at night. They're not willing to take a red-eye flight. Like, have you ever lost sleep because of the business? Like, have you ever stayed up late at night? Have you ever had to take a red-eye flight? Like, talk to us about that. Like, how like important that is, because a lot of people see the success, bro. They see the nice watches, they see the cars, they see the nice dinners, but a lot of times they don't see the stuff that happens in the background. Like, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, of course. I can remember really distinctly when I was working for my second mentors, because there was 3 owners of the company, that a lot of people didn't work on the weekends. And I was like, I don't work every weekend, but I definitely, get my hours in. And then I'd be in the office by myself. Like, literally, this is office like 40 people. There's like nobody there at the office. I'd be looking at my properties, and I didn't even have to, because I was acquisition manager. So I wasn't the project manager, in that role. But so people were like, well, what are you doing working on the weekends? You don't even have to go to those properties. I'm like, but I'm trying to learn this, and I'm trying to really master this business. And so I'm willing to pay the sacrifices. I'm willing to do the extra work, because, you understand it, but it isn't until you're doing it on a day-to-day basis where you're like, oh man, this is what I'm going to have to do. I'd sit there and I'd write like 10 offers a day sometimes, because I was just trying to get those numbers, and really like be the best acquisitions manager for the whole company. And I remember like working 7 days a week, and my girlfriend, I'm single now, but my girlfriend at the time was like, always like giving me shit because she was like, oh man, you work so much and da da da. And, I mean, I told her from the beginning, like, hey, I'm ambitious. Like, I'm trying to be a multimillionaire. Like, I don't want to be working that much in my 40s. Like you better be, you know. But we would go on vacations on a regular basis, and then I still would, you know, so you don't burn out, because you don't want to burn out. But yeah, like it was some tough nights, and you know, working 7 days a week. I think I worked 7 days a week for like, I want to say like 15, 16 weeks straight during that time. And then I took a, you know, 7 to 10 day vacation in Mexico. But so that's an example. When I was, you know, kind of starting my company like about 2 years ago, I remember running, so I had like less than $10,000 in the bank, and I had all this overhead, and I just, not a lot overhead, but it was just like, I had all my capital tied up, and I was like, holy shit, like I could like go bankrupt right here. Like this is, and so there was, you know, I was stressed out, you know, I'm like, how am I going to make payroll? How am I going to, you know, make all these, you know, bills on these, you know, I was able to figure out, I took a hard money loan out on my primary residence, but you know, it was difficult. I didn't want to take out equity from my property, but my business was going to die or something bad was going to happen. And so I, you know, figured it out. So just a lot of things. I remember too, also when I first started, like I was playing with other people's money, but when I started on my own, sending that wire for $50,000, $60,000, $80,000, like it's no joke. Like it used to scare the crap out of me. I was like, oh my, what if I lose this money? But I still did it, right? So there's it doesn't get easier, you get better. It just, that's what it is, right? And that's how it is. So it just, you're constantly raising the bar, and if you're constantly improving, then you're gonna keep, you know, meeting that. But if not, then you're gonna stay mediocre or just plateau and then start head down.
That's awesome, bro. So let's start talking about like team building. Like, so eventually you went from a solopreneur, meaning you doing everything, to hiring your first person. Who was your first hire, and then how has the team expanded in LA, and then we'll get into the transition to Hawaii as well too.
Yeah. So I first started with administrative help, because that's a part of the business I hate and that I'm not good at. So I hired a virtual assistant, a general virtual assistant in Mexico. He worked for me for close to a year. The second person that I worked with was kind of like an operations. I don't know if you read that book, Attraction or Rocket Fuel, but I was trying to kind of figure my integrator out, right? My COO, because I did want, I mean, my goal was always to build a 7-figure and multiple 7-figure real estate investing business. Like some people just want to be investors. Like I'm building a business. That was my intention for the beginning. So I want to be kind of clear there, where it was not, because I could have, with the skills I learned and the money I had saved, I could just like flip, you know, house a quarter, just, you know, live in Mexico, whatever, just do whatever I want to do, you know? But that's not what I mean. Then I'll get bored. So I was like, okay, I'm going to build a business. So I hired those couple people. Then I brought in like an acquisitions manager, and then a part-time telemarketer. Though they lasted me like 6 to 8 months at the beginning, but they weren't really A players. And I didn't know that yet, because I didn't really have high standards at the beginning, because I was just whoever, you know, was like a relatively good fit. I'm just kind of bootstrapping, right? I'm just kind of starting out. So that kind of, I didn't get the results I wanted, and I spent a lot of money on marketing and other things that didn't work, but it's because I just had like a team that wasn't really dedicated, wasn't committed. And then the pandemic hit. Mm-hmm. And then just, I had to kind of, you know, make some cuts and make some sacrifices. But I mean, these people weren't A players. So it was easier for me to make the cuts, because it was like, hey, you guys are not performing that well anyway. And now this, you know, who knows what's going to happen. But then the deals that I got during that time did really, really well. And then I just started thinking again and again, like, what am I going to do? And that's around the time that Brandon Turner reached out to me. It was like, hey, I'd like to scale up my flipping business a little bit more so I can have more capital for my, my mobile home park acquisitions and, my payroll and all that. Why don't you consider moving over to Hawaii and let's do some deals? He pretty much kind of made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And around that time, that's when I started thinking about it. And that's when I decided to sell my primary residence, because I had owned it already for like 18 months, and I was able to sell it tax-free, and had a $105,000 profit on that deal. Plus I had $100,000 of my money in there. So it was just like a significant amount of money that I needed to take out. So I got more liquid. And so I sold that property, and then, we had a couple conversations about it, and then one thing led to another. And so I decided to move to Hawaii kind of because of that. transition. And that's when I started really ramping up like A-player teams. And then I was able to attract people. And then I did a bunch of hires at the end of last year and through the beginning of this year that really turned out well because I raised my standards. And then I also just have more clarity on what I want.
So basically you went from flipping houses in LA to still flipping houses in LA. You have A players helping you manage the flips in LA, but you live in Hawaii now, basically, right?
Yep. Crazy. Awesome. In 4 years.
What advice, bro, would you give to somebody looking to hire A players, like versus just your average person? Like what lessons? Because I feel like this is where people get stuck. And obviously, I mean, I hired my first assistant, I think back like in 2013. So now it's 2021. And through that time, I've had to let people go. I've had to hire things. Obviously, I've learned some things as well, too. But I feel like almost you have to hire somebody to start learning and getting in the habit of delegating and doing it. And then the second thing that we'll touch on besides the A players is virtual assistants. A lot of people think that you have to hire a local, but they don't know that you can hire somebody through a platform called Upwork in Guadalajara, or they can hire somebody in Costa Rica at a lesser price as well too. So talk to us about how to attract A players, and then let's move into the virtual assistant.
So great question. Thank you. I think this is very valuable. Number one, you have to be an A player to attract A players. Don't be thinking you're going to attract A players because they're going to leave you anyway. They're going to, right? You're clapping because you know, like I've been there where I'm like, hey, I'm not on point, but then I want A players. Like
A players. Yeah,
it doesn't work out. Number two, it has to be mutual alignment with your goals for them and for you, meaning that them working for you, working with you is in their best interest and going to help them with their long-term goals, and it can help you. Because I noticed when, hey, this guy wants to work and he's an A player, but then he wants to start his own thing in a couple of months. Well, that's not alignment with me. He's gonna, steal whatever ideas he has of mine, and then he's gonna go do his own thing. But if there's like, hey, man, I know I need to pay my dues. A player, like my current acquisitions director in Los Angeles, my main right-hand man, I mean, he's an A player, 100%. I have no doubt about that. And we had that conversation when he first started working, and I made him a proposition like Brandon made me. Hey, bro, we're gonna do this for a year. After a year, if you still want to work with me, we'll figure out what that looks like. If you want to go off on do your own thing, then we'll do that as well, but amicably, and we'll make sure that we're on the same page with that, because I understand he's a CalBRE player that might want to go and do his own thing. But I know he believes that we can work on something bigger together and then grow together. Exactly. So there's a lot of alignment there with him, and all my team members, the same thing. If I genuinely I don't feel like I can do long-term business with you and help you with your goals, I don't want to work with you, because then you're going to end up getting, disgruntled or, disengaged, or just not going to perform at the level we need our team to perform at. So I'd say those two things. And then just understand.
How do you know? Because everybody will come to you, bro. When you're hiring somebody, bro, this is I can do this, I can do that, I've done this, I've done that. Like, how do you determine whether somebody's BSing you or whether they're the real deal?
Okay, so when I mentor people or kind of start to like engage in working together and whatever that may be, I try to have an open mind, and it's not like, okay, you're going to be this in my organization or you're going to do this only, because I didn't like that when I worked for my mentors. They kind of pigeonholed me, right? They just put me in this one position, one category, and was like, stay in your lane, Alex. I never liked that. So I don't do that to people. I just say, hey, the growth potential with me is unlimited, because I feel like my growth potential is unlimited. So I want you to be the best version of yourself, and so do I for me. So I would say what I do is I require for mentorship or for people to earn my time a 90-day commitment of at least 20 hours a week. And then believe me, bro, and first of all, they have to have high character, like, a strong moral compass, and not be, a liar, a cheater. You could just kind of tell, but that, over time you can figure that out. And then they have to give me that commitment, and then they have to be somewhat logistically close. Like if this guy lives like 2 hours away, how likely is this guy going to be driving 2 hours? Now it could happen. And I actually do have a mentee by the name of Eliam that comes all the way from California City. I'm sure you know where California City is, all the way to the Valley, all the way to South LA to come to meet us for like an hour or two.
Yeah, California City's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. So And then I just think, they're logistically close to me and my team, my business, they have goals that are mutually aligned. So I know we can help them with that. And then they're clearly, like an A player. Then I give them that mentorship for that time. And by week 2 or 3, bro, like they're going to perform or not. They're going to communicate well or they're not. They're going to have a good attitude or they're not. And so you just kind of weed people out like that. And they just kind of go to the sidelines and then, they get fascinated by the other shiny object somewhere else. And then I don't have to waste any more time with them.
That's awesome, brother. Now, this was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I don't know who introduced me to it, but when I started delegating at the very beginning, and I felt like a lot of agents didn't start delegating. My first hire was actually a virtual assistant. It was through this program called Upwork, which I think it was called something else at that time. But I attribute a large portion of my success to that as to being able to delegate. But because I wasn't making a lot of money at that time, I needed to be able to delegate on a budget. What does it mean to hire a virtual assistant? Would you recommend people hire virtual assistants? What type of roles can these people do? And is there anywhere how would they go about finding somebody if they wanted to hire somebody like that?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say about that is you need to start with like an inventory of like all the tasks that you do as a business owner and see which ones you're good at and you like doing and which ones you don't like doing and you're not good at, because like those are the first things that you would consider delegating off to somebody else and for me that was administrative tasks, things that are really computer based for the most part. And so much of what we do now is virtual. It's like it's the same thing. You're kind of working virtual in some respects anyway with your team now. But it's not that expensive. So like say, for example, you're earning $20, $30 an hour. Well, then you can afford to like pay someone $5-10 an hour in another country to free up more of your time to do what you do well and that you do good. And that is income producing activity or some type of problem solving in your business. Because if you're not actively doing those two things, then you're not going to, move forward typically. And that's what happens a lot of times with us, entrepreneurs. We get boggled down with stuff that drains our energy. Like, I mean, I'm not the details guy. Someone asked me earlier, like, oh, this detailed thing about our direct mail campaign. I was like, I don't even know. Like, can you ask, Alex Camacho, my acquisitions director in Maui? Like, I seriously don't know that answer. And I like that because that's going to bore me. It's going to tune me out. And then I'm not going to be engaged to have that high level conversation or reach out and then, be part of something, another bigger problem that we're trying to solve in the business. So the virtual assistants can help you be more productive. It is management intensive at times. So you do have to keep a close eye on them. You do have to train them well. So it's not like they just start and then like all of a sudden they just build massive value in your business and life. You really have to train them. You really have to onboard them. If you don't, I mean, that's just like with any employee. You have to find out again, are they trying to be here long term? Because there is kind of a lot of turnover in like virtual assistants as well. And I don't know if that's happened to you, but it's one of those businesses that unfortunately it does have a high turnover ratio. So imagine training somebody for like a month and then they just take off. So you really want to make sure that these people are going to be with you, hopefully for a mid to long term. And that way you're not costing you a lot of time to train them. Yeah. Would that answer the question? It
100%. I just wanted to make people aware that it is an option out there. My first virtual assistant, bro, cost me $3 an hour. And I kid you not, like, this is how simple it was. Me and another agent that was a competitor would get in the office at the same time. He had to get his leads and import them into his CRM, 5 to 10 minutes, which doesn't sound like much. But I would get into the office. My leads would already be in my CRM at $3 an hour, which is nothing. So he would get into the office. He would have to upload his leads. I would get into the office, bro, pick up the phone, start dialing. They say the early bird gets the worm. 10 minutes early, I was the first contact. I was able to solidify, get that appointment. And little things like that allowed me to grow. Not only that, but I didn't want to be rushing in the morning, like, oh, I got to do this. Or it just made my life a lot simpler. And you can do that and you can do it because we're in a global world now where there's no barriers with the internet anymore. Back in the 20s, we couldn't do this. Now we can. So that's one thing that I love. I love virtual assistants. Obviously, if you train them the right way, they can be a huge asset to your business. They can do anything from administrative things and calling, anything that you need from them.
Yeah, and there's a great book, Jose Luiz, called Who Not How. I don't know if you come across that book. That is typical. It's such a great book for entrepreneurs that are trying to get the simple concept of how someone else could be their who, not how. Because so many times we think about how do we do that, and then we don't get it done because we don't know how. But there's someone out there that knows how to do that, and so I like that book for that reason as well. Because
I was recommended that book recently, and I was literally in my car driving back to the office. And I was like, the next book I got to read is the Who Not How. I'm like, that's the next book that's going to help me the most, because it gets you in the mindset of who's going to help you, not how am I going to do it, basically. And
because that's we're talking about the team, right? And that's part of the team, finding your who's out there. Yeah. And that's what's happened to me in my business. That's allowed me to scale, allowed me to be in multiple markets. Is like there's who's out there, and then I'm just pouring into them. And they have who's as well for themselves. But the audience, I think, would benefit a lot from getting that going. Perfect. And reading that book.
Now, the last thing I kind of wanted to go over is just like kind of some of the results. You've done over 90 deals. You've done over $50 million worth of sales in terms of investments in your career. Where would you say most of your deals come from? Do they come like from one area? Do they come from real estate agents? What would you say? And what advice would you give to somebody as it relates if they're trying to maybe find their first deal or their second deal or their stuff?
Yeah. So that's $1 million question. One of many that I get all the time, which is, hey, how do you get all your deals? And there's no silver bullet. There's a mixed bag. We got our last deal from a wholesaler. The one before that from Instagram. The one before that, a pocket listing. The one before that, MLS. So I think for us, because Southern California is such a competitive market that we have just gotten really good at working as a team and analyze these deals and then make solid, quick offers and just great, fast decisions, because you need to be able to work at a fast pace to lock deals up. And so I spend a lot of money, as we were talking about earlier, on coaching, on training and all that. And my team has access to all that. So I think we're just able to move at a much faster pace now as a team than in the past, because of all the training we've done, because we have meetings every Wednesday. We have that webinar we have meetings every Monday, and we have meetings the webinar every Wednesday. So that kind of unifies the team. Also, it helps awareness, and we just got a deal from the webinar as well. So, but if I were going to recommend someone starting out, it would be more like, hey, master 1 or 2 acquisitions channels that match your skills and current resources. So if you don't have much, and maybe you just get a list of people and start cold calling, and then maybe you can go on Drive for dollars and get some lists of custom lists of properties that are distressed in your area, and then send strategic postcards to them. But just mastering or getting really good at 1 or 2 strategies, and then starting to add the other strategies to your plate, because that's why we're good at what we're doing, and because we have a couple of core strategies. If I was going to say our core strategies, it would probably be MLS, cold calling, and then the combination of like networking / social media and all that. So it'll probably be the 80% of the way we get deals. But then we still, again, like I said, we still get deals from wholesalers in other areas as well.
So the MLS is basically like building relationships with real estate agents, basically, right?
Well, yes and no, but I'll also add is what a lot of new investors don't understand is that most markets, and I don't mean like small markets, but like most markets, is such a huge territory. It's in my experience working for that second investor that were doing volume, they couldn't buy every deal. So how can no one investor can buy every single deal from the MLS? Sure, there's more competition. Sure, it's more active, but there's opportunities such as mispricing. So like if an agent from one part of town gets a listing in a completely different part of other town, they want to get that listing sold. They don't want to be there like taking a bunch of offers, taking a long escrow. It's a fixer. They're used to selling nicer properties. This is a fixer upper in the hood. They don't want that. So there's opportunities like that. Also, sometimes a lot of these wholesalers, they lock up deals at prices that don't work. They try to renegotiate, and then the escrow is canceled, and then they'll call you back. And if you put together a good offer and you build good rapport with the agent, you'll get, it's like a boomerang. It'll come back around and you get that deal. Or I've had this happen too, where I make offers. Our goal is to make one offer every single day on MLS. That's sometimes we do that, sometimes we don't, but we average about that, because that gets us about a deal a month on the MLS, still to this day. And then after we're making offers, we found that people will call us back like a month or two later, or agents will call us back a month or two later on an unrelated deal. They liked our offer. They just went with someone else, but then they still had us as an investor in their database, and then we got deals that way. So don't ever discount MLS in your market. It's just how much are you mining it? Are you on it 2-3 hours a day? Are you calling agents every single day and talking to them and all that? If you're not willing to do that, then you're not going to get deals from the MLS. But if you discount it or just think you're going to make an offer like once a week and get a deal, you're probably not going to get a deal from MLS.
Yeah. Even me, like as an agent, like if you're a real estate agent, you can talk to other agents and say, hey, look, I'm a cash buyer. If you ever have anything that's a fixture, or if you ever have anything that maybe falls out of escrow that needs a quick closing cash, let me know. I received a call like that, Alex, last March, in the middle of the pandemic, bro. It was like right in the middle. And they basically told me like, hey, look, this property just fell out of escrow. You can get it at this price. It was like literally the world was falling apart. But at the price that they were offering it to me, I knew I couldn't lose any money. So I basically bought the house. A year later, we sold it. It wasn't our intention to sell it. We were actually going to keep it as a rental, but we ended up exchanging it into a larger property. But we sold it for like $160,000 more than what we bought it for, like profit, which was like, it was. But that was a deal that came from a real estate agent as well, too. So be telling people, well, not only that, but be nice to them whenever, like, I can't stress the fact, like, if I have two investors and one of them is really difficult to work with and one of them is really nice and just a good person, keeps his word, follows through, that deal more than likely is going to go to that nicer person if both investors are equally, like equally paying the same price and all that, So, and people sometimes don't understand the importance of that, of just like building that relationship with these people and following through on what you're gonna say, and understanding that the real estate agent can actually be your ally versus like somebody that you're fighting against or whatever it is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Jose Luis, that like people want to work with people they like.
Yeah.
And if you're not likable and if you're rude, because there are a lot of investors just because they have money, they think that they could treat people like dirt. And if you want to get great deals, the homeowner should kind of like you. If the agent likes you, then they're more likely to get you the deal. So yeah, just being polite and cordial and professional, and just being a good person, like you said, goes so far. It's so far for sure. Yeah, decency is very. I think I heard the Lord say like decency is very profitable.
Well, for that deal, Alex, the agent got both sides of the commission. I didn't make any commission. I didn't care about it, but I got a deal that made me $160,000. Like I didn't care about a $5,000, $10,000 commission. I was more interested in the deal, but I think that's the right mindset of going to things. Cool, man. Last question I wanted to ask you is just, how is the LA market different from the Hawaii market? Like, is there any difference there? And have you learned anything from like switching markets, because most people don't do that, and they end up just working. Like, I've been working in the same market for 10 years, so.
Yeah. So first, the prices are much different. Or depends, but they're on average more. So the average house in LA is probably in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. The average house in Hawaii would be probably closer to the 6 to 7 to 8, depending on what island you're on. Second thing I would say is very different is the rehab cost is much different. The skilled labor is much less. So where in LA, I'm averaging between like say 25 to 35 per square foot in Antelope Valley, because I'm kind of in three markets. To me, the Antelope Valley, Palmdale, Lancaster, Rosamond, Cal City, Mojave, all those areas over there are a little bit more. That's the lower dollar Southern California, if you would call that Southern California market that I invest in. And then we do core Los Angeles. And then we're in Hawaii, particularly Maui, but I'm looking at doing stuff in Oahu. And so like the house prices are more. So I'm spending 25 to 35 on Antelope Valley, 45 to 55 on average right now in core LA. And it's like, as I understand it, I haven't done a full rehab yet on Hawaii, because the deal we're working on right now that we closed on is going to be more of a hotel, but it's like $80 to $100 per square foot. And this is just a cosmetic rehab. Yeah, so you have to really get good deep discounted deals now. But on the flip side of that, pun intended, is that I mean, we got monster spreads. Like this deal in Maui is projected to make at least $200,000 potentially, right? Maybe 300. And so you got those like monster spreads. I know a couple of investors in Oahu that have made $300,000-$400,000 on a flip in less than a year. Like those opportunities just don't exist that much in Southern California. I as I've seen them, I've done a lot of deals. So I'd say those are a couple of differences. And then there's certain like there's certain things that are really good, like condo flips are really profitable in Hawaii too, because you don't have to touch the outside. And like we just said with the with the per square foot and the rehab, how difficult that is. And there's also like some Airbnb opportunities that I'm looking into in the Hawaii market that are different than LA that could just be huge cash cows as well if I could get the condos at the right price. See what else. And it's an island, so smaller compared to like LA, where it's just like it's enormous. There's just there's houses everywhere. So I'd say that's kind of the differences I could think of now. That's awesome. And then as far as talent pool, I would say there's just like less people in Hawaii. No offense to anybody there, that just kind of driven, motivated. I mean, people go there to retire. People go there for vacation. People don't tend to go there to want to go hustle and be like, yeah, let's go to Hawaii so we can go work hard. So I mean, it has that. It's true. Like it kind of seeps in, and that's why I like going to LA, getting the hustle, the energy there, and then I go back to Hawaii, and then I'm surfing, I'm just hanging out. And so I get the best of both worlds, but I'd say that's a huge difference too, just the vibe, the energy of the island being so chill that it's hard to get into like that hustle flow.
That's awesome, brother. Cool. Well, I've enjoyed our interview, man. Obviously you shared some things. Obviously we have some things in common. I love the fact when you said in order to attract A players, you got to be an A player. That was a gold nugget right there, in itself. I just wanted to see if you had anything else that you'd like to add to the viewers, anything else that you think would be important. And then the last thing is just give you an opportunity to where can people find you?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing I would say is on the final kind of thoughts is just take action, you guys, but then, reflect every 30 days or so, see where things are working, where they're not working, reach out for help. Some of the most successful people that I've met that are, really at the high levels, like they are quick to ask for help. And I don't mean like begging or to like asking for favors, but just like they know they need to continue to learn. So if they're at a super high level and multi-millionaires, some of them worth $50, $100 million that I know, and they're still asking for help. Like, why are you not asking for help? And you're not in that position, right? So I'd say that take massive action, ask for help, get around people doing what you want to do, that, living the life that you want. I mean, if you want to buy a 50-unit apartment building, I'm not your guy, because I'm not going around there buying 50-unit apartment buildings. So just make sure that you're focusing on being around the people that are doing what you want to do. And then just be a learning machine, like at all times. There's so much you can learn, so many skills. Like I started to become a better leader because I focused so much time on leadership this year and last year, but I'm not a natural leader. I'm more of a deal hunter. I'm more of a deal getter. I want to go out there and hustle, but just understand, to get to the next level, you need to learn skills. So that means you need to be a learning machine constantly. So I'd say probably those are the top things that come to mind.
That's awesome, brother. Good, man. And where can people find you? Like, let's say that somebody wanted to connect with you. They've enjoyed your energy, your time. Well, where can somebody reach out?
The best place to reach me will likely be Instagram. I kind of market on my whole thing as Alex Camacho TV. So that's my handle on Instagram. And then you could just DM me there. If I don't get back to you soon, my virtual assistants help me out with that sometimes too. But I'd say that's probably the easiest way. I hate email. And I'm old school. I'm quick to get on the phone with people, but I can't have a million people calling me either. So we talk on the DM. Maybe we'll get on the phone sometime. We'll see.
Awesome, brother. Well, I've enjoyed our interview. This has been episode number 63 of the Morales Group. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give us that like button. And if you've enjoyed the content, make sure to share it. Thank you guys so much, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate your time, and you provided tons of value for people today.
Aloha, my friend. Thank you so much for having me.